Osmanthus
I
wine
would like to
tastes
be
the same
recognized as
remember.
someone that genuinely
But where
can inhale food, like Patrick Star.
Alright, I guess I'll go with my textual criticism and your
amazing.
editorial direction for the first draft. I have a feeling that the missing Kabuki Mono will end up being the main focus of this paper. Ugh, if only we knew where to find that traveler. From what they say about him, this seems like the kind of thing he'd know about.
Looking for me?
Oh, you're the traveler, you say?
Hey, what's with that face? Don't believe us?
Oh. If you don't believe me, I'll go.
No, of course I believe you. Actually, I first heard about your great exploits when I was still in Inazuma. This is my first time coming face to face with you and your mysterious silver-haired companion. I couldn't believe my luck, and out of force of habit, I started, examining the evidence.
understand what's
Sorry.
with his
Sawada, for the love of... Sorry, we don't get out much, so our social skills are kinda lacking. Traveler, I hear you've helped many people a great deal and been to many places. Would
Yeah, I
you
can
be
tell you all
able to
about
tell us about
Tatarasuna.
Tatarasuna?
Actually, we don't know much about that place either. In fact, we only came over here because we heard you talking about it and
I see.
Sorry, I can't help this time.
My teacher chose this area of research as a personal challenge. He said it's difficult to get into because even Inazumans don't know much about Tatarasuna's past. But who'd have thought that...
If you don't mind, I'd love to show you all my outline for the book I'm writing about Tatarasuna.
You don't. Oh, my
hold
gosh,
on, Sawada. Don't you think that's a bit of a deep dive for a first read?
Well, fair point. In that case, please ease yourselves in gently by taking a look at Akaba's latest essay draft.
Let me give you some background. This all started with the discovery of some records in Tatarasuna. The writings mentioned someone by the name of Mikoshi Nagamasa,
Oh,
who
I
crafted
actually
a
know
fine
of this
blade.
person.
But in the end, he threw it into a fire to destroy it, and killed his servant Katsuragi. Why? Well, no one knows.
So they couldn't pass on the way that the blade
Apart
was
from the
made.
swordmaker, his servant, and the one who wrote this all down, the records also mention a kabuki mono. This seems to be an Inazuman word for an eccentric stranger, someone who dresses funny or acts in an unusual way.
That's right. Akaba's
it
teacher has
Ito?
spent quite some time researching these events on the ground. This kabuki mono lived in Tatarasuna for a while before disappearing without a trace. And shortly afterwards, as Akaba mentioned, things got pretty ugly.
Things got ugly.
So first this strange person goes missing, then a murder happens?
Yes, my thoughts exactly. So I helped out too. I asked everyone I could think of if they knew anything about what happened back then. And wow! Did I get lucky!
No?
Stop shouting!
Come on.
This part's important. I just wanted to make it stand out. It just so happens that a friend of mine works at the government records office. He looked into it for me, and I can now confirm that all the aforementioned
Over
individuals
400
did, in
years ago,
fact,
huh?
live in Inazuma over 400 years ago.
It's kind of about.
Even back then,
Yeah.
Tatarasuna was already at the center of Inazuma's smelting industry. The man in charge was a government official named Niwa. Curiously enough, it seems
Wait, so there are two missing people in this
Oh.
story now?
We already
That's
know
right.
them.
What's more, Niwa is a name with a lot of history to it. Have you ever heard of the great swordsmith clans of Inazuma?
Oh, the swordsmiths? Yeah, like Ishin art and so on?
Wow, yes. You really know
Yeah.
your stuff. That makes things
We're
easier.
very close
so
to
basically,
Kazuha.
this Niwa was a distant relative of the Kaidahara clan, the last practitioners of Ishin art. Something then seems to have happened in the Kaidahara clan, leading to their downfall. I don't know the details, but taken in light of everything else going on around that time, it makes you wonder whether it's all connected
Let's
somehow.
go west,
The
Kazuha.
Kaihara clan?
Sawada, you left out the biggest detail of all.
There's more.
Oh, yes, of course. How could I forget? Brace your minds, ladies and gents, for they are about to be blown. Or maybe you won't believe your ears. I wouldn't blame you, of course, because in all my years as a writer, this is by far the most.
Get to the point, for Pete's sake.
According to information acquired by Akaba's teacher, the Kabuki Mono was not a human, but a puppet.
It was the Wanderer.
A puppet?
The Shogun puppet that the... No, don't skip. No! Okay, whatever. The Kabuki Mono has to be the balladeer, but what was he doing 400 years ago in Tatarasuna?
Aha! Judging by the looks on your faces, you do know something after all.
Glare at Paimon and hope she keeps her mouth shut.
No! Paimon just meant, how creepy. The way you described it makes it sound like a ghost story.
I agree, it does. But considering that non-human races in Inazuma are by no means uncommon, spooky events are to be expected. And that's exactly what my book is about. Please, take a look.
Author, Sawada, Extract 1. A man arrived in Tatarasuna around 3 in the afternoon. From afar, he spied laborers walking along the mountain roads toward the factories, their shoes scuffing along the jutting stones. They walked like people convinced that so long as they reached the fire raging in the mountain's belly, they might extract from it gems beyond price. The mood that the sight inspired was ineffable, beyond mere description for those not present to witness it. The man barked a cheerful greeting and sprinted to join the procession. There, a towering character who stood half a head taller greeted him with a heavy slap on the back, and yet his words were filled with respect. Do my eyes deceive me? Sir Miyazaki, I cannot think that the return trip here from Inazuma City would have been easy on you. Miyazaki smiled like a young man taking the first steps on their journey, expressing relax. Why, Katsuragi? Inazuma is the realm of the almighty Shogun. I sailed upon the fastest ship, strode upon the swiftest sea routes. What dangers could I have possibly faced? And what about the good news? There was some. Naturally. The two burst into uproarious laughter, roughhousing with the other workers until the path's end. A young man dressed in a linen shirt and wearing a headscarf gazed out into the dancing flames of the furnace before him. Now the flames of a forge are unlike any other, for their intensity affects the resulting integrity of both metal and blade. So too then was the Flame Watcher an unusual individual, as his fingertips sat a lizard. What? At his fingertips sat a lizard, and on his face he wore a smile. The workshop was huge, and the furnace was deeper within. A reasonable person might think that there should have been many working alongside the Watcher, yet he stood alone. Only when Katsuragi and Miyazaki strode into the room did the Watcher turn. This Watcher was Niwa, armory officer and administrator of the Tatarasuna. Born to the Niwa clan, which served as one of the 3 pillars of the Ishin art, Niwa never argued with his siblings and was a worthy successor by all accounts. The post he received as a result of his high standing with those in power served as a statement unto itself. Miyazaki handed a well-bundled text to Niwa as he adjusted his expression and said, "It is as you said, sir. The elders of your clan in the city do not think highly of our plan, yet I still believe it to be worth a try. As such, I have found the proper vendors and procured the materials that you requested." Niwa studied the text and nodded. "We should try some of these new forging techniques, whether Kaedehara says yay or nay." Katsuragi frowned, and with a sigh he said, "Forging is a precise and difficult undertaking. You know this better than most, sirs, and still you seek improvement each day with terrifying drive. Ah, should my lord Nagamasa hear this, the sourness in his face shall be hard to miss." This is such a long document, oh my gosh. Niwa smiled, replying, "And how does the forging of your lord's great blade, Katsuragi?" Katsuragi neither wanted to shame his master nor lie to his 2 friends, and yet he could not think of any way to deflect, and so growls, "I see your ears are as keen as your hands, Sir Niwa. The jokes of us unlearned men are as nothing before you." Miyazaki hid his grin upon hearing this. Upon hearing this, Niwa released the lizard from his hand onto Katsuragi's palm. But just as more words were to be exchanged, someone came walking nearby. Their footsteps light with the celerity of youth. The head that peeked in was round, and in the firelight looked like an oiled jewel. The young man placed some box food at the side, and nodding, he prepared to leave. Kasaragi called out after him, "What about your share? Aren't you going to eat?" The young man, upon hearing those words, found himself slightly at a loss. After a while, he answered, No, I'm good, thanks." The Kabukimono was by the coast. Sunset fell to the accompaniment of darkness. I need to make sure. Dun, 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 dun. I do this? Do 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 do. Bum 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 bum. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Stream manager. All right. Okay. The Kabukimono was by the coast. Sunset fell to the accompaniment of darkness. The bands of twilight showed themselves not, for in their place did thunderclouds roil, rumbling the omens of a coming rainstorm. Darkness filled the flesh of the sea, and the dusk bade the clouds to kneel upon the land, a supplication mirroring the Kabukimono, with knees bent and face pointed towards the water. None passed that way, and none knew what he was waiting for in silence. Time passed, unmeasured and uncounted, till a black cloud... Hang on, I am trying... my best. Okay, well, this is fine too, I guess. I give up. Okay. Kabukimono staring off into the other side. Okay. Time passed unmeasured and uncounted, till a black cloud suddenly tore free from the sky and began to circle the Kabukimono, bearing down on him like a nightmare. Though he was not aware at first, after his studying gaze was refined by time, he understood. This cloud had marked him from the very start. Outbound, a fishing boat drew near, the lights of its bow flickering and out of sight beneath falling sheets of rain. A mist unspooled across the area, stealing sight from the fisherman. Repeatedly he exclaimed, "It is but dusk. How are my eyes darkened? Is there anyone that can deliver my boat upon safe tides?" Like a falling spear, the black cloud reached the bottom of the boat, and was joined in its bereftness of direction. Like a charging beast, they plunged into the shoreline. Scant steps away, the Kabukimono stood idle, slanting his head to study the grand wreck. Not but half an arm was left of the one who had cried out for help, and with a plop, it landed at the Kabukimono's feet. He crouched to better study the object, straining against the urge to take a bite out of it, yet he did not, for the dark cloud swirling down had already picked the remnants of the ship clean. The Kabukimono stared at it blankly like an awakening dreamer. When he returned to himself, the clouds had scattered as if they had never been there at all. As for the ship, Could it have been struck down by the storm? Who was to know? Not the Kabuki Mono. Well. Poor Wanderer. Kasaragi rushed to the doorway and shouted, "My lord, things go ill at the furnace. I have searched for Sir Niwa, but there is no trace of him, and much time has passed since Sir Miyazaki left to seek aid. But he has yet to send us any missive. Look." Mikoshi Nagamasa turned slowly, his face grave as one attending a funeral. He spoke then, his words heavy-laden. "I wish not to say such words, Katsuragi, but Sir Miyazaki may never return." Katsuragi peered past Nagamasa's broad, stiff shoulders beyond the windows. The clouds above boiled in waves of black, as if darkness now was the only weather, and might even morph into an abyssal beast and devour Tatarasuna whole. Over 10 people had already perished. That was why... Katsuragi recoiled as if struck. Yes, it was coming back to him now, in dribs and drabs. That was why they had set out to seek aid. Miyazaki had been the first to set sail. The clouds had only just begun to form then. Traveling from Tatarasuna to Inazuma to ask for support was normally no great feat, and yet there had been no sign of his return. Then a second ship was sent, followed by a third, and a fourth. Till the Kabukimono himself had departed upon the tides under foul skies and ominous fortunes. It had been Katsuragi who had brought him back and treated him as his own, and it pained him greatly to see the lad go. Yet the situation in Tatarasuna was severe. Even should they sacrifice more lives, it would have been worth it to gain assistance from Inazuma City. Niwa was gone, and none could find him. Afterward, Nagamasa led a search party into the mountains in the area around the furnace, all to no avail. Folk began to wonder if Niwa might have encountered an accident, but worry soon turned to suspicion, and they wondered if he had fled, unwilling to bear the sin of having caused these incidents. The people grew even more suspicious, and Nagamasa himself strained against his discontent and fury. His face had grown to resemble the rumbling clouds above. Suddenly, a figure flashed by. Their presence did not go unnoticed by Nagamasa. He drew his blade and cut, though he only nicked the silken veil the intruder wore. For a moment they swayed, and then, like a marionette pulled by strings, they moved behind Nagamasa, laughing darkly. "Are you seeking someone, my lord? Niwa, perhaps?" Nagamasa bellowed in fury. "You dare address Sir Niwa that's hard. You dare address Sir Niwa directly!" Yet the figure parted like mist before his falling blade, only to rematerialize beyond reach, but not beyond sight. A ghastly apparition indeed. "Was it you who slew my people?" Nagamasa howled and charged, held back only by Katsuragi's desperate grip. As his senses returned to him, he realized he was but an inch away from falling into the furnace. It seems that the rest of this work remains unfinished. From the existing text, however, it is apparent that this is a novel of fantastical, colorful accessibilities, born from an imagination well utilized.
Oh, and please read my
Oh my gosh, they're both so long! Okay, alright. Basically this is talking about how Tatarasuna used to be the furnace industry of Inazuma. Okay. This paper continues and expands the work of my mentor, Mr. Rumi, in his report on the happily hidden tales of Tatarasuna, and is intended to further this avenue of research. According to the data, the blade forging techniques of Inazuma were originally handed down from the Electro-Archon, known as the Raiden Shogun. Using the arts they inherited from their Archon, the people of Inazuma devoted themselves to the process of forging. However, strange rumors that do not quite fit the silly nature of metalwork yet linger about Tatarasuna, which was a central pillar of the forging industry. There, the Mikoshi and Niwa clans, along with an eccentric puppet, Wanderer, serve as the 3 windows of insight we need to investigate the truth behind what happened. Strange notes from the Tatarasuna area, their contents are as follows. Perhaps I overstep, but I think that Sir Nagamasa's mood grows better when he forges blades. The obsession to cleanse the stain of the name Mikoshi must eat at him. Sir Katsuragi discovered a nameless eccentric while patrolling around Nazuchi Beach. The inspector bought a certain number of Jade Street steel ingots, and Sir Katsuragi discussed matters of smithing deep into the night with the Vice Armory officer. We at last made a single nagamaki. We call it the Daitatara Nagamasa. Oh, the Daitatara. The Daitatara Nagamasa. The inspector was in high spirits, and he and the Vice Armory officer, Nozomu, was so taken by the beauty of the Daitatara Nagamasa that he drew a picture of it. He performed a sword dance with that wandering eccentric. We could not find that eccentric. The inspector flew into a rage and slashed Katsuragi. The great blade cut deep into the flesh, cast his own nagamaki into the furnace's flame. Nozomu could not abide by that order and drew the completely melted weapon out of the furnace. He was horribly burned. Nozomu died that night. I dare say that while Sir Katsuragi may have committed maleficence, it was out of the goodness of his heart. I can't read. Why do I read these when I can't read? It's fine. Kenjiro hid the nagamaki and Nozomu's drawing in the arsenal. Nagamasa is harsh, but also knows right from wrong. But even so, he is not amenable to reason. His name indicates one obsessed with purity. Still, I and some households of Tatarasuna have not been blinded by the matter of Nagamasa's mother, Chiyo, and we trust him. I also remain unwilling to forget the joy of creating the Daitatara Nagamasa with him. Daitatara. Big Tatara. Interesting. Daitatara Nagamasa with him, and that joy of watching the nameless eccentric perform that sword dance with Katsuragi. Before we withdrew, we should have divided the arsenal key into 3 parts, one for the inspector, one for the armory officer, and one to be left in Tatarasuna itself to prevent theft. But we were in too much of a hurry, and neither the inspector nor the armory officer could be found, so I was so bold as to hide the 3 pieces within treasure chests in Tatarasuna. The 7 notes mentioned prior have been scattered across the Tatarasuna area. Among the 7 notes, 6 seem to be of good physical integrity, though they all look quite old, while the last one looks more recent. I believe that the first 6 notes and the last are of different time periods, though the gulf in years between them needs to be verified. The contents of the first 6 should also be related to each other, as the incidents mentioned are quite consistent with one another. Alright, nope, that doesn't really matter. A great many of these rumors revolved around the yokai, who are so very characteristic of Inazuman folk histories. A very small number, however, mentioned the word puppet. It should be known that puppets are neither traditional nor common yokai in Inazuma. This fact drew the attention of the researchers to delve further, and eventually the following pieces of information came to light. This part is important because it has to do with Wander and the Balladeer. A puppet did once appear in Tatarasuna. Its visage was elegant, its apparel impeccable, and the way it dressed hid all of the joint lines on its body. If no one were to mention that it was indeed a puppet, it would be hard to tell at all. Additionally, this puppet seemed to possess special joint lines that would fade with time, potentially even disappearing altogether, which would perhaps eventually make the puppet seem entirely human. The name of the puppet was known to almost none. Some folk claimed to have spotted it appearing around Tatarasuna, while others mentioned encountering it in the central regions of the area. Some even claimed that it would frequent the beach. Tales spread of it standing beside the sea and gazing across the waters towards Inazuma City. What it was that the puppet was gazing at remains a mystery. As mentioned earlier, the 6 notes all document a certain nameless eccentric. The eccentric, which can also be read as kabukimono, is usually used in Inazuma to refer to a figure who dresses or behaves in a peculiar manner. It is understandable, therefore, why this character would have left such an impression. Should the people of Tatarasuna indeed have had a puppet in their midst incurring mass panic, a good possibility considering the coexistence between yokai and humans in Inazuma at large, then the puppet would have been very likely become a local resident. What is well known is if the Kabukimono was just another title for this puppet. Or what is less known, that. Perhaps because it was uniquely dressed to distract attention from its more special characteristics. A workable theory, but one that still lacks enough evidence to support it, so it can be retained as an analytical sense of sorts. Okay. So here are the records of the Inazumans in the letter. We have the armory officer Niwa, full name Niwa Hisahide. He was the inheritor of the Ishin art and successor to the Niwa clan. His family, along with the Akame and Kaedehara clans, were together known as the Ishin Sansaku. Records show that Niwa was a modest and intelligent individual. His eventual whereabouts are unknown, but he was suspected to have left Tarasuna with his family following the incident with the furnace. Miyazaki, full name Miyazaki Kaneo, he was Niwa's second-in-command. His origins are unknown, and he primarily assisted Niwa in forging and personnel management. He was of affable temperament and had many friends in the region, including one Mikoshi Nagamasa. So we get into Nagamasa, who was also known as the Iwakura, the successor, or the younger adopted brother of Iwakura, the successor, Mikoshi Michihiro. With his mother missing and abandoned by his brother, Nagamasa alone bore the family name, striving daily to wipe the shame from their history. Though records state that Mikoshi Nagamasa was a stubborn figure, he was also noted to be a person of moral virtue and integrity. It has been noted in various records that he practiced forging swords for self-cultivation. Okay, and however, after the famous blade Daitatara Nagamasa was forged, he used it to lay his subordinate Katsuragi for reasons unknown or slay. I read lay as in lay to rest. He did lay him to rest by slaying him. Cool. Katsuragi's full name and background remain unknown. Despite all the materials I have sorted through, I have yet to find any more additional personal information regarding him. As one of Mikoshi Nagamasa's subordinates, he was a loyal warrior who had been saved by Nagamasa in his youth. From then on, he swore to stick by his lord through thick and thin, and to give his life in service if it was but asked of him. I wonder if that's what ended up happening. Foreshadowing. Now we have Kabukimono, full name unknown, background unknown, from the many sources I have compiled. Combined with Rumi's personal observations, this character might have been the puppet mentioned in the rumors. The Kabukimono was a figure of fashionable grace and gentleness, according to the hidden tales. He was brought back to Tatarasuna by Katsuragi and became a member of the community. When the Kabukimono first arrived in Tatarasuna, he knew nothing of cleaning, cooking, or any work of the meticulous nature. Locals taught him their skills over time, showing him how to clean, dance, craft, small trinkets, etc. The records say that the Kabukimono was there when the Daitatara... Why is that so hard? I know why it's so hard, is because it's a really dumb name for a weapon. Like, I get it. They were mimicking Japanese, and I understand exactly what they're trying to mimic it off of, but Daitatara, like, it doesn't... Daitatara, Nagamasa, like, it would have been Tatara Dai, or Tatara Daita, or something like that. Like, they wouldn't, whatever, it's fine. Daitatara Nagamasa was forged. Though his trail ends before Mikoshi Nagamasa slew Katsuragi, I believe that the Kabukimono was indeed the aforementioned puppet, and that he quite likely had a hand in Katsuragi's death.
Sawada was encouraging me to follow him. Oh, how about if I plug the holes in Sawada's narrative with political intrigue? Like, I could put a turf war between rival factions at the center of the whole series of events.
Wait, you're allowed to just make stuff up?
It's so hard
You
to
got
just
some
make
essay
stuff
to
up.
guess
No.
there.
No, Paimon. No. That sounds more like a novel.
Akaba, look. Your teacher has researched this extensively. I've reached out to everyone I could think of. Whatever
Oh
information
yeah,
we
just
have
to
now
help there.
is all that there is
Rumi
to
is
know.
the name of his
This is as much
teacher.
detail as you're ever going to get. Besides, if there really was a political power struggle going on at anything like the level you seem to be suggesting, what hope would we ever have of finding out the truth?
Well, actually.
Good point. Okay, back to the drawing board, I guess. Give me some time. I need to find a new angle on this.
Alright, I'll leave you to it.
We have some other stuff to do, so we'll have to say goodbye for now. Good luck with your essay.
All right, thank you. If you find out any more info about all this, please do let me know.
Sure, pal. I'm not going to. I'm just gonna go off and do my own thing, if you know what I'm saying.
Hey, so that thing they were talking about, it has to do with the balladeer, doesn't it?
Yes, Paimon, I am so proud of
Okay,
you.
then even if we did know something about it, we probably couldn't share it with them, huh?
Correct, Paimon.
After all, we kicked his butt and got him locked up. Information about people like that is usually super confidential, isn't it?
We can ask Galen.
If you ask Paimon, Akaba should just pick a different topic. There must be as many essay topics as there are trees in the forest. There's no point in...
And there goes the balladeer.
Hey, did you see that? He literally just went by, over there. It looked like
Yeah, no.
the balladeer. No, it can't have been. He got locked up. Oh, quick, let's catch up and see.
I mean, you're probably not wrong. This is probably when we run into his alter ego or whatever. Alright. Nahida, you didn't let the balladeer out to play, did you?
Traveler, Paimon, there you are. Nahida, bad news. We just saw the balladeer strolling around in public. Did he escape or... Ah, it's him!
Sure enough, you're here.
Hey!
Hey,
You're in the
Sir
sanctuary
Moose.
of Surasthana. Aren't you supposed to be locked up? I know you must have a lot of questions. Please, allow me to explain. It was my idea to set the balladeer free. We made a deal, and he's gonna do some investigation in Irminsul for me.
Aw, okay.
A deal? Huh. You sure you trust this guy?
What did you expect? Why do you think Sumero would keep me around otherwise? Or maybe killing me is all you can think about.
No. I don't want you dead, Bean. I just want you to maybe not be a harbinger anymore. If you catch my drift. Also, why did it stop
But if
doing
that's the
autoplay?
case, why haven't you done it already?
Then what?
Don't flatter yourself. It was... Nahida said there's still some mysteries in you to figure out.
Ah, so if it were up to you, you'd finish the job? Guess I had you all wrong. There I was thinking you were just getting cold feet.
Dot dot dot.
Well, that escalated quickly. Not a good start. Could I ask you all to please calm down?
No.
But Paimon's worried about you, Nahida. Don't let him trick you.
It's not every day you see people questioning the God of Wisdom's judgment. Just when you think you've seen it all.
Don't
Well,
you
to be
dare
fair,
try to drive a wedge between
Not
us.
everyone remembers
As
the
long
things
as the
that I
terms are
do.
reasonable, I don't think there's a problem in making a deal. Even with the balladeer.
Well, I, for one,
I
have
mean,
no
she
reason
did
to
make a
doubt
deal
you.
with the doctor.
Considering you even struck a deal with the doctor.
Oh, thank you,
Yes,
Balladeer, for bringing
one
that
in
up.
which I gained valuable information. You'll come to understand more about that in the fullness of time. The balladeer's power was all but completely spent after your battle. He's no longer strong enough to be a strategic threat to us.
What?
That puts him in quite a precarious
You
position.
say that, but I've used
Plus,
the homie.
he's a former harbinger with knowledge of many of the Fatui's sensitive secrets. Being stuck here in Sumeru could make him a sitting duck, depending on how the Fatui plan
You know what?
to
That
respond.
is actually, that is a
Wait a
fair
second.
point. It would be better to set him free.
He's not a harbinger anymore?
I take no pleasure in saying this, but it seems as if the doctor had
Damn.
no intention of welcoming back a loser, so...
So he tossed you out like trash.
Sometimes it's you
Hey,
using
hey.
them, other times it's them using you. Most human relationships are this way. Certainly all the stable ones are. That's how it was between me and the Fatui. And also between each of the harbingers.
I love how he's
So
saying
long
that
as you
as though
have some value
that's
to
a
offer,
stable relationship.
Nobody will ever abandon
Wait.
you.
Oh my
But after
god.
recent events, even I have to admit
What kind of
that
toxic
I'm not
wasteful
worth
is the
quite what I used to
harbingers?
be.
Really? What a crying shame.
Well, if the Fatui are gonna reevaluate my utility, I need to have a backup plan for myself.
Uh-huh. The backup
As
plan
we
being no
discussed,
dying.
I don't like causing harm to living beings, and you said you need protection. So, why not join forces with us?
Yeah, Nahida.
I think these two have made their objection to that idea fairly clear, don't you? And they're your friends, so I guess you'll be siding with them.
Well, she's allowed to her own opinions.
Obviously. Nahida, don't listen to him.
Then let's put that discussion to the side for now. We still have time. Today can be a trial run. Where we go from here will depend on how well we manage to cooperate today.
Okay.
All right, then I'll do what we agreed.
Good. Go now, and keep in touch.
Nahida, are you
Oh,
serious
Dixie
about
Chick's serious about this.
Yes. I have my reasons for this decision. In fact, I'm largely doing it for your benefit.
For me?
Yes. As I told you once before, there's information about your twin in Irminsul.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that's the whole reason we came to see you today. So, you have an update on that?
Mm-hmm. You may remember me mentioning that the Fatui had not included your twin's details in the Descender category. This is an extremely important point.
Correct.
It's possible that the Fatui have other information that even I don't know about. And since the Balladeer used to be one of them, he'll be better acquainted with this information
I
than I
see a
am.
little silhouette of
He was
a
granted
man
the power to connect with Irminsul when he almost became the god of a new era. Even though he no longer has the Gnosis, some traces of its power remain in him. He can still connect. The amount of information in Irminsul is vast beyond description. So I asked the Balladeer to search in Irminsul for any information about the Descenders.
Mm-hmm.
He's more familiar
I'm following
with
what
this
you're
kind of
doing here,
information,
Nahida. I
and
don't
should
like
be
it, but
able
I'm
to find
following
more
it.
quickly.
What if he lies to you?
Exactly! Or what if... Paimon just doesn't trust him! He's treated us as enemies every time we've run into him!
I understand.
No.
But sometimes,
Well, I mean, that's what
everything
happens
is
when you
dictated
guys
by which
fight.
side you're on. How things will go in the future depends on what information he brings back. And Traveler, I know what your heart desires most of all.
To hug my
Our
sister?
minds have connected several times before.
To see her again?
There's a corner of your heart reserved
introduce
for
her
an
to
intense
everyone?
longing. A feeling of being all alone in the dark, searching for the one candle whose light still burns. As Sumeru's deity, it is my responsibility to be on guard against the Balladeer. But as someone who counts you as a friend, I want to do something for you. If this deal with the
Nahida.
Balladeer can give you the answers you've been longing to find, then it's worth it.
Thank you, Nahida.
It's my pleasure, really. You're Sumeru's hero. You've more than earned it.
I just want to give you a big fat
I'm so worried
hug.
about this idea. Is there anything we can do to help?
I was going to contact you about that. In fact, I was going to ask you to supervise the Balladeer on my behalf while he carries out the task I assigned.
Alright, easy
Even though
enough.
he only has a fraction of his full power left, that's still a fraction of a former Harbinger.
What?
If
What
you could
number
accompany
was he?
him,
Wasn't he like
it would put my mind
number...
at ease.
Was he number
Of
9?
course, I'll be there to help guide
Can't
you through
remember.
Irminsul from the outside.
I'm glad to be able to help.
Great. Thank you. Prepare yourselves. looks pretty different here compared to last time. The colors are gentler. Guess that must be because Sumeru's at peace now.
Yeah. Talk to me, Balladeer.
Look at that. Hot on my heels. You know, you didn't have to cut your catch-up short just to keep me company. Oh, but I guess you panicked when you realized that I might enter Irminsul ahead of you.
Nahida sent me to babysit you.
Shut your beak, jailbird! No way a prisoner gets to be so smug!
I understand that prisoners
Oh my
have to put
gosh,
up with
Paimon.
harassment from the guards. But right now, I'm on temporary release. So maybe you should think about backing off a little.
Sounds like a successful rendezvous. I need to be quite clear about something. In a few moments, you'll be entering into the innermost region of Irminsul. It is an environment like no other, and the most important place in all of Sumeru. Unlike anywhere else, Irminsul's inner region consists exclusively of torrents of information. You must put aside your differences and be extremely careful as you navigate your way through. I know there are many grievances between you, on both sides, but it is essential that you remain calm after entry. This is as much for your own safety as anything else.
Understood.
Fine. Let's call it truce. But only until this mission's over.
Let's cut each other a little slack, shall we? We are gonna be traveling together after. Per my agreement with Lesser Lord Kusanali, I'll be at the front.
I wonder when
It's
I get
my
to meet
job
him.
to
I
lead the
imagine
way
that's
and
during
get
this
rid of any
quest.
obstacles in our path. All you have to do is keep your pretty eyes open and try not to fall behind.
Yeah,
you sure are
yeah,
confident.
yeah.
Paimon will give you that.
If there are no further objections, I suggest we get going. Or did you need some time to mentally prepare yourselves?
Ew! Ugh, the snark on this guy. It's unbearable.
There's no need for all the biting sarcasm.
We can start now.
Irminsul access granted. Initiating connection procedure.
Is this a small sapling?
Oh,
Oh,
look at it.
darn
It's
it.
so pretty.
Come on, let's catch up with him.
He's so pretty and cute and squishy.
Wow. So this is the inside of Irminsul.
It's different than what I imagined.
Ooh. Paimon's never seen anything like this. And it feels like a sacred place.
Irminsul is closely intertwined with the entirety of Tevat. Every bit of information flowing here means something. Pick your jaws up off the floor. It's time to go.
Why is it that Paimon just wants to do the opposite of everything he says?
Because he's annoying and he points out the obvious.
Lesser
but
Lord
it's okay because
Kusanali.
you still love him.
We will now proceed to the heart of Irminsul.
Can you still sense where the heart of Irminsul is?
Yes. Permission to begin searching for information there?
Permission granted. Go ahead.
Let's go. Stay close. Don't go running off.
Hey, so say we did go running off in here. What would happen? What are you smirking
Get
at?
lost and you wouldn't be able to
I
find
was
your
just
way out.
imagining the look on your travel companion's face if you went and got lost. Anything's possible in here. You can't rule anything out. So if you want to stay safe, your best option is to stick close to me.
No, that's fair. Nope, we got a little node.
These sapling things have spread out.
Those are all packets of information from inside Irminsul. Be careful not to touch them.
I'm just gonna keep following you.
It looks the same in every direction.
It's not.
No wonder he mentioned about getting lost. Huh. What do you know? He was actually telling the truth.
No, he was actually being honest.
Is he mocking me again? What is it this time?
There's a time and a place to lie, but this definitely isn't it. So why don't you relax your guard a little? We're here.
What a huge tree!
The center of Irminsul. All the information in the world is flowing through
Lesser
it.
Lord Kusanali.
Good, you made it. Are you ready?
Ready when you are.
Then please begin. Preparing to access cognitive currents. Establishing waypoint.
The Balladier's actually doing what Nahida tells him. Guess he must want to stay alive.
Or he wants us to stay alive. He hasn't put up any resistance, and he seems good at working on the front line. Maybe he had a similar role in the Fatui? First Sakaba and Sawada's stories, now this? What a strange individual.
The rest is up to you. If you discover anything at all, make sure to share it with us.
Will do.
Huh. For once, we're the ones with nothing to do.
Traveler, Paimon, would you like to talk?
Nahida? Is this a telepathic conversation?
I've also invited Paimon to join.
Huh? What the? We can talk to each other inside our heads?
I'm guessing you don't want us to disturb the Balladeer.
That's part of it. Plus, we're all friends.
Aww.
There's nothing wrong with us talking like this once in a while.
Paimon's never tried this before. This is great! So, Paimon's been wanting to ask you something. Don't you think the Balladier's a bit of a walking contradiction? He's always talking back, but he seems to listen to what you say.
Yes, and he seems to excel at doing odd jobs for others.
As I've told you before, there are still some mysteries for him to resolve. Perhaps today will be the day that he finds some answers.
Is it about his past, the betrayals, and the other events in Inazuma?
Well done. Smart and attentive as always.
Actually, I caught a glimpse of a few things when I ran into Hypatia at Partetie. You relate what you saw in the Balladier's mind while in
So-
Partetie.
You made contact with that part of his mind. Well, it's true. Betrayal turned the Balladeer into the person he is today.
Makes sense.
Paimon thought nothing could get under that guy's skin. Turns out, he can get hurt and angry just like anyone else.
Everyone has a history, Paimon.
Speaking of puppets, we ran into two people at the Academia today talking about an essay. Turns out their topic was about the Tatarasuna incident. Nahida, do you know anything about that?
If you mean the mysterious events, the Kabuki Mono and so on, yes. I know about
Interesting,
all of
Nahida.
Really?
You want to share?
Because from what they were saying, it sounded like lots of Tatarasuna's history is still unexplained. And most of the information we have now is just from people filling the gaps with their imagination. At least that's what they thought.
You tell Nahida about the story Akaba and Sawada
Oh?
were discussing.
How interesting. Those two managed to deduce quite a lot through guesswork alone.
Really?
So I guess they got it right?
Well, they guessed right about one thing. Tatarasuna was sabotaged.
Must be a riveting conversation you three are having. Funny how all the good ones happen when I'm not involved.
Why you gotta call
What
us
makes
out
you
like
think
that?
we're talking to each other?
Don't insult me. You're having a private conversation without me. Obviously, I must be the topic of said conversation.
We have every right to keep certain things confidential.
Of course you do. You can't have your prisoner knowing too much.
So, have you found anything yet?
Still looking. Don't get your hopes up, though. You and your twin come from outside this world. It wouldn't surprise me if there was nothing on either of you in Irminsul at all.
Wait, how did you know about that? Did Nahida tell you?
It's not like we've never met before. And anyway, you're world famous. It'd be more surprising if I didn't know a few things about you.
Every conversation with you is hard work, but your attitude is better than I thought.
Right now, we have to keep the peace. I'm not interested in creating more misery for myself. And making cordial conversation is something I can manage. Huh? Wait.
Oh, he found something.
This light. It looks similar to those saplings. What could it be?
Anonymous data.
Hey, don't you forget the agreement!
Anonymous
you
data?
Have to share it with us!
Anon?
Shh. Just wait.
Oh no, this is gonna be
Mr.
about him.
Niwa, are you certain this is worth the risk? We are talking about Tatara Suna's furnace, after all. It may not pay to act rashly.
There's no one else who can enter the furnace. It has to be me.
Is that so? Well,
Oh.
since you insist.
Oh no.
It's...
That name. Niwa was the man in charge at Tatarasuna. Plus he belongs to the lineage of Ishin art.
Whoa!
Oh no. We're going to
I
end
have
up
been
in
in
the
Tatarasuna
data.
for some time now. You have shown me great hospitality, as has Mikoshi Nagamasa, and indeed, everyone else. Under your leadership, Tatarasuna is a warm, welcoming place. Like a giant village.
I'm guessing that I'm
People are
Miyazaki right
gainfully
now.
employed. Their lives have purpose. They are
And
motivated.
this is Niwa.
As I understand, the Raiden Shogun has, in recent years, eliminated much of the evil that plagued Inazuma. As for Tatarasuna, it was originally established as a means of safely disposing crystal marrow. The forging industry with crystal marrow as a raw material has since flourished, giving rise skills, blood, dreams. Every smith brought into this trade looks to find their purpose between steel and blade. That is why you accepted the proposal brought to you by myself and Akame.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Miyazaki then.
Yes, well,
And this is Niwa.
were it not for you coming to Inazuma and happening to make Akame's acquaintance, you allowed Akame to take all the credit for a method that you jointly developed. He sold it to me, and now every piece of ore here is smelted using the new technique. Even now, you remain one of Tatarasuna's key consultants,
This is not
working
Kasaragi.
right here alongside us.
You flatter me.
Oh,
From
okay.
the outset, I saw much that was commendable in the
Escher.
forging industry of Inazuma.
So you say, Escher. But is this really
He
the
wasn't
truth?
really included in the notes.
My good sir, what do you mean?
I tried to resist thinking it was all connected. Because I didn't want to speculate. And I didn't want to believe that things could turn out this way. What have we gained from adopting your new technology? Ominous black smoke? Mounting production problems?
Oh, Niwa's calling him
Worker
out.
fatigue and casualties are up and continuing to rise at an alarming rate. And recently, as you well know, someone died because of that strange filth inside the furnace. We've kept the truth from spreading outside, but still, I suspect you understand it better than I do.
Correct, because he came up with the technique.
None of the people who went out to get help have come back. Now, our mutual friend, the Kabuki Mono, is taking the Golden Feather to Narukami Island to seek an audience with Shogun. This is our last hope.
Oh, that's not gonna go well. That's like asking your mother for a favor as an estranged son.
But that doesn't faze you, does it, Escher?
I'm just surprised that you finally chose to be so sincere. I'm sure you've been harboring these suspicions for quite some time.
Mikoshi Nagamasa may have noticed that there was one common denominator among all these events. Namely you, Escher. But Mr. Mikoshi is more cautious than I.
After all, Nagamasa is the adopted son of Mikoshi Torachiyo, the yokai struck down by the Shogun's own hand. If he truly seeks to redeem his family's honor, an abundance of caution is well
Oh my
advised.
gosh. This game, I
You're
swear.
well informed on the subtleties of his situation for a mechanic all the way from Fontaine. Are you sure you're not a little overqualified?
Why, Mr. Niwa, are you suggesting I find a job as a diplomat? Sadly, I
Okay,
am
I've gotta
so
keep that in mind.
very attached
He's
to my
from Fontaine.
craft.
Enough, Escher. I'm here because an evil force is raging inside the furnace. I'm in charge here. And I'm about to take some responsibility and head inside. Probably to my death.
Ooh.
But what about you? What are you still doing here?
Judging from the look in your eyes, you don't seem to trust me.
I don't blame him.
Drop the act. We're past that now. Whoever you are, it looks like your plan to destroy Tatarasuna has worked. I just want to know what you're still doing here. What's left? Don't you have all your answers by now?
Don't you dare knife him.
Honestly, I'm just waiting for the right moment. A moment like this, where you finish talking and I stop you from entering the furnace.
What?
You...
Oh no!
You're a little smarter than I initially gave you credit for. I thought I'd disguised myself exceptionally well, at least for the first few days. But to my surprise, you had your people look into my background right from the start. It's a long journey from Inazuma to Fontaine, but that didn't stop them. Eventually, they managed to confirm that Escher was an alias, and that I was not from Fontaine at all. And yet, despite all of that, you still fail to realize my true identity, and what I seek in Tatara Suna.
Did you really think you would be able to see through my plan?
If you kill me, there's no one who can get inside the furnace.
Oh, but you're quite wrong. There is one other person. Some may not see him as a person, but you told him yourself.
Gosh.
You're not a
I just
puppet. You're a human. You're just missing a heart.
Whoever you're working for won't get away with this. They'll be found out. But this makes no sense. What are you really trying to accomplish by all
This
this?
was 400 years ago.
Why go to all this trouble?
It was after Conria. It was
It's
after
no
the
trouble
Archon
at all.
Wars.
Patience is a virtue which I have in abundance.
What was he after?
This is all part of a carefully controlled experiment. If you must know, I'm happy to divulge my true identity.
Yeah, I could
I'm a
tell from the
Fatui
voice that it was El
harbinger.
Dottore.
Call me the Doctor.
The Fatui? Who? What do you want?
Just to create a minor inconvenience for your nation.
That's it? That's why you gave us your cursed technology? Just to let
Well, I mean,
loose
I
the
don't
evil energy
understand
from
why
the
you
crystal
believe
marrow?
his smelting technique, Niwa.
Look how even the righteous soul is filled with venom when faced with its demise. My device functions precisely as you say. It is the only chance you have of preventing a catastrophe and keeping the truth from the outside world.
Oh my
However,
goodness.
I did not make it with you in mind.
You made it with Scaramouche
It is
in mind.
easier for a person to be possessed by evil spirits when they are filled with hate. Make no mistake, even without you, that
Basically,
pure,
he wanted to
innocent
bring about-
puppet would only end up being used
It's
by
crazy
someone
how
else
carefully
instead.
crafted.
What other reason would a human have for befriending one who
They
is not
came
of our
for
kind?
Scaramouche.
If you give him, he has nothing to prove to anyone.
What a beautiful way to see the world. Think of me. I say, Mr. Niwa, let's see what happens. Will your puppet friend become a human?
Oh, I hate him, 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 I hate him.
Mr. Niwa. Jester, I'd like to introduce a puppet to you. If he proves useful, let's make him our newest comrade. And if not,
Oh, I detest.
let's turn him to dust.
Oh no.
Hey,
Dottore. Dottore! Good. Good.
Oh, now Scaramouche is
Was
gonna go
that-
kill Dottore.
the doctor? Did he turn into a mechanic from Fontaine?
I'm afraid so. He was the one behind the Tatarasuna incident.
But why did we see things from his perspective?
Irminsul.
When I touched the doctor to confirm whether he'd eliminated all his segments, I read this memory in his mind. You have to admit, it must be the truth.
Maybe so. But it means nothing.
Oh, actually,
Does
it does mean something.
But this memory shows that Niwa didn't betray you. He never meant for you to be the one to take the device into the furnace. You know very well what that means. Even more so than I.
You were never hurt by Niwa. You were hurt by Il Dottore. This betrayal was a lie that he has believed for hundreds of years. Was this part of the doctor's experiment? The betrayal never happened. It existed only in his imagination. But where does this leave him?
Let's give him some space. He looks really mad. Paimon doesn't want to be anywhere near him right now.
Let's go over there.
We need to give him some time to process his emotions.
Paimon's still confused about the Tatarasuna incident. So, the doctor was behind it, but why has that gotten him so worked up?
Because...
Nobody has ever deceived you like that, Paimon. It's natural that you find it difficult to understand. Perhaps he needed to learn this someday. So now you have the complete picture. Katsuragi took the kabuki mono to live with the people of Tatarasuna. Later, the doctor showed up, disguised as the mechanic
guys,
from
even though I
Fontaine.
really want
And that's when the trouble began.
to stay
It
here,
was all a horrific experiment planned by the doctor. After the event, the load was far. The mechanic removed the wither. The balladeer was stunned that such unthinkable cruelty. He thought Niwa had completely betrayed him.
Holy moly. So the...
yeah.
Yes.
Don't be Sasuke. Okay.
Dottore, you brazen-faced... Niwa didn't run from justice. You killed him.
Alright. I, unfortunately, need to go and do D&D, so I am gonna go ahead. I'm going to end the stream. I will be back on tomorrow.
Shall we see how he's doing?
But it unfortunately needs to happen. I'm going to do my best to get through the dialogue here.
That's a scary expression.
Are you worried about me? If we didn't have such a history, I'd almost think that qualifies me to be your friend.
We just want to make sure this doesn't affect the plan.
It won't. I'll keep my end of the deal.
Hey, aren't you investigating the stuff we want to know about?
That's why we're here.
Yeah, valid.
But unfortunately, there's no information about the Descenders in Irminsul.
Even if you can't find anything, that seems to confirm it. Irminsul does not keep records on the Descenders. Anyone who comes from beyond this world is not counted as part of Tevat.
But what about my sister?
Does that mean we have to leave empty-handed? ...
Not unexpected, but still, thank you.
Don't thank me just yet. You look really upset. Well, since Irminsul was a dead end,
Neo!
I guess I can share some other info that might
I'm
interest
just
you.
about to leave.
Huh? About what?
The reason why there are records about your sister in Irminsul. It might have something to do with Conria.
I'm sorry, I have Dinda.
Conria
I
was
have
her first
D&D.
destination when she arrived in this world. Plus, she only came to this world because the heavens responded to the summoning.
The heavens responded?
The gods spoke to her, and she spoke to the
The jester
gods.
told me this himself. You can take his word on this. He was a royal mage in Conria, and lived with your sister for a time.
The jester? Another Fatui harbinger?
I don't know the details. It's up to you whether you want to believe me. All I can say is, I wouldn't lie to you about this. Did you get all that, Lesser Lord Kusanali?
Yes. Astonishing news.
Does this info count towards my mission? It wasn't from Irminsul, but was it valuable?
Very valuable.
Good. In that case, I'll take some time for myself now.
Oh, shit.
Huh? What have you done?
Lesser Lord Kusanali was right. My power's all but completely spent. Even if I use all of the divine power left in me, I can't sustain this shield for very long. I shared a secret with you, and now you owe me. So in return, I'd like you to answer a question for me.
What do you want to know?
Give me your hand.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that we were going to be holding hands. Here you go, bro.
Can you hear my voice inside your head?
Are you trying to brainwash me?
No, I can't do anything like that anymore. At most, All I can do is exchange a few words with you. So tell me, in this world, is it possible to change the past?
Wait, why would you ask
Done.
that?
Huh? What the? What happened? Paimon only saw you hold hands for a second.
Nothing. I was just thanking him for helping me.
Wait, that look. Did he see me hesitate? That was because I know about Greater Lord
So long.
Rukkhadevata.
I suggest you get yourselves out of here quickly.
Where are you going? Hey, wait up! Didn't you say not to go running off?
Balladeer, stop!
Fast reaction time. But I don't think we'll be seeing each other again. From this day forth, the names Balladeer and Kabuki Mono will cease to exist. Those who died in
Okay.
Tatarasuna because of me deserve another chance at life.
Hey, Balladeer! Don't do anything stupid!
You know, I never did like insects. Hordes of the puny things swarming together can be a real nuisance. And I enjoy nothing more than to stamp them
Oh my
out
gosh,
like the pests they
Scaramouche is
are.
about to go off.
But if a colony of harmless ants isn't threatening anyone, I guess they deserve to be left alone. Luckily, everything can be set right. It's time to solve this once and for all.
Balladeer! Balladeer! Uh-oh, he disappeared. Oh no, he's really gone! Oh, can you hear me?
Sure.
Nahida! Traveler, Paimon, Balladeer, what happened just now? I was suddenly cut off by some kind of power.
It was
It was the
Balladeer.
Balladeer's fault. He shut you out. I didn't think he'd be capable of something like that with so little power left. Did he keep some of his power hidden when he was defeated? Or did he achieve something beyond his abilities, and it took everything he had? Where the heck did he go? Ugh, it's all our fault.
I'm wondering what I'm
We were
gonna
supposed
name
to
him.
Keep an eye on him. Sorry, Nahida. Don't be. It's not your fault. We're running out of time. Follow my lead and get out of Irminsul as soon as possible.
I'll get right on that. Don't you worry. Of course.
Okay, yeah. I think that that is a good time. Like, this is a good place to leave it. Because I have to go and do Dinda. And I need to do this thing for Nahida before I can do the next part of the quest, you know? So, I think that we're making good time. I probably won't be completely done with the desert in time for Fontaine. But I shouldn't be too far behind either. I am going to quickly... is it this one? I do need to quickly do this. I need to collect these. But I'm gonna do that on my own time. So, I will see y'all tomorrow. Alright? Bye-bye!